Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I am here with another amazing session with another amazing, talented guest with me. As you know, I am Maria, facilitator and podcaster at Rehan School Online Academy and learning human networking and AI. So, without wasting time, let's welcome our guest. He is from another border, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Vimala. Hello, Vimala. How are you?
Hi, Maria. I'm good. I'm good. I'm sorry for the delay, but I'm good. How are
No
you?
problem. I am good. Thank you so much for coming and thank you so much for giving me your precious time.
My pleasure.
Could you please tell us about little bit about your background or introduce yourself for audience?
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. So, my name is Vimala, and currently at the moment, I'm living in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Previous to this, I was born in Malaysia, but I went to London to train as a nurse. This was a long time ago, and I lived and worked in London for 30 years. So, having trained as a nurse, I then climbed up the career ladder and I managed a multidisciplinary team in accident emergency units and then came a moment. So by the time 90s arrived, the 1990s arrived, Britain had become very multi-ethnic, multicultural, and there were we termed them as Black and ethnic minority communities. So those communities who migrated from different parts of the world, were already settled and they had citizenship, and yet, when it came to the health sector, they had their access to services was very challenging because of language barrier, racism, and at that time, Britain was the NHS was very white, so all the white people were at the top, and all the brown and black people were way down at the bottom. So we were the nurses and porters and ancillary staff in the health sector. But I had climbed up the ladder to be who I became, and there came a moment when it was in the 1990s, but the whole understanding of equity, diversity, and inclusion was beginning to happen in Britain because the population had changed. So places like Manchester, in London, East End of London, these places had more Black and ethnic minority people. Yeah, so 75% of the population would be what we termed Black and ethnic minority people. And then there was a lot of research about the health issues that Black and ethnic minority people were presenting. So heart disease was prevalent, diabetes, all this was prevalent, including, and there was a big study that was done. It was called Asian Mother and Baby Campaign. And what that campaign and the study revealed is that Asian women have low weight birth babies compared to white women. So
Okay.
that became a turning point for the government actually to say, because there was pressure coming from bottom up, to say that they needed to appoint key individuals in the health sector. So I saw this post for in those days it was called Equal Opportunities. I saw the post for an Equal Opportunity Manager to be appointed in Newham Health Authority, which is east end of London, and I applied and I got the job. So, so from nursing, I switched to looking at management, and so that is what I did. So I worked in two health authorities, one which was East End of London, the other one was in the centre of London, where Nottingham Gate. So basically, my role was to improve access, but more importantly, to bring out a strategy for the health authorities to think through how they needed to improve access and also improve the employment practices. Because as I said, all the way up were white and all the way down and maybe in the middle were brown and black people. So we were beginning to understand that the barriers for in employment was also a challenging issue. So that's what I did for something like 10, 11 years. And then came a moment when by this time, 30 years had passed. And I used to come home. I have my family here, my sisters. And there came a moment when I said I wanted to go home. So I came home in 1997. And because I lived there, I didn't have a network here, only my family. And I thought I was going to come here and do consultancy and training, but I didn't have a network. So I went and taught in a kindergarten. I bought a small house in another part of Malaysia. I went and taught in a kindergarten, looked at that business, and then with the aid of many mentors and my sister, I set up a kindergarten business. So for 10 years, that's what I did. I had 120 children, 10 teachers, and I managed the business. What happened towards the end of the 10 years is I started reading about coaching because in Malaysia, the first coaching school that was set up by Michael here. So I started reading in the newspaper about coaching, and I got curious, and I came for a weekend program, and I looked at what coaching is all about. I had done a lot of consultancy and training, so coaching was not kind of I didn't understand what it was. Anyway, I went back home, sold my business, and I relocated to Kuala Lumpur, which is where
Okay.
I am. And in 2011, I became a certified ICF certified coach, and that's what
Thank
I
you
do
so
now.
Okay, thank you so much. What motivated you to become a coach and leadership coach?
So I'm not so much a life coach, but an executive leadership coach. So what happened after I finished my certification, because coaching is so different from consultancy or training, I started doing a lot of pro bono work. And coaching for newbie coaches, it's a journey, because we don't know. We only go to school and get what we get. But when you come out into the real world and you have to coach, it's a learning curve. So what
Yes,
happened is that I was doing a lot of pro bono work, and most of my clients were presenting life issues to me, and I felt I didn't feel this is where it's very important when you're a coach, to find your niche. I do tell this to newbie coaches. You have to kick off with something that you're good at. Although in coaching, they do tell us once you know the fundamentals of coaching, you can coach anybody on any subject matter. That didn't sit very well with me because when life issues were presented to me, I found myself not kind of become I wasn't comfortable, if I can put it that way. So I went home, and I looked at what is it that I'm good at. So what I'm good at is being very strategic, being and looking at how to empower people to become change agents, because that's exactly what I did 11 years in Newham and Parkside. I didn't have a budget. I was accountable to my GM, general manager. I had a steering group. So I didn't have a budget. So all what I did in order to make the change and improvements in access for employment and services is to empower the decision makers. Yeah. So if there was
that's great.
so if there was an HR director, I worked with the HR director and his team to empower them to make the changes. And that's how my work was. So when I came home and looked at what am I good at, and that's what I'm good at. So I'm good at connecting the dots. I'm good at leading teams or facilitating teams to make the change. So when I then looked at the niche I wanted to work on, executive leadership is what came up to me. And then I branded myself as an executive leadership coach who connects the dots and coaches for change.
Thank you so much. Can you describe your journey as entrepreneur and the challenges you face along the way?
Okay, so as I said, when all of us are newbie coaches to start with, and we have to learn the process of coaching. Although we have a lot of peer coaching and practicum, in real life, it's different because you've got a real client in front of you. And also, when you have a client in front of you, there's only you and the client. So you can do anything you want because your client might not know the difference between coaching, mentoring, and telling. None of that because they trust you to coach them. So I had to learn a lot about what coaching really is when you're sitting with a client in front of you. So I looked at all the core competencies of ICF. ICF is fantastic. Yeah, they they make sure that the resources we have, the training we have is superb. It's world class. So I looked at all the competencies, and that's what I needed to follow. But in order to follow your competencies, you needed to have mentors. You needed to do your research. You needed to listen to master coaches. So I spent my all my time looking at YouTube's and ICF resources, master coaches, how they do their coaching. So I learned through that. So I always say to the newbie coaches, I'm also a mentor coach, that they must do the legwork. Otherwise, they can sit in front of a client and not coach, but they could be doing something else, which is damaging. Yeah. So my
Yes.
challenge was, and I was 60 years old when I became a coach. So, so my challenge was, and I love learning. Yeah, I'm always learning. I'm a lifelong learner. So I had to learn a lot and I enjoyed it. Looked at a lot of resources. And the ICF chapter in Malaysia was very well structured. So we met as a group of people, we learned from each other. And then what happened? So while I was doing all of this, I had a phone call from a Fortune 500 company. I think that company was looking for coaches, yeah, to coach their branch managers. So it's a recruitment company. Now I know Kelly Services because when I was working in UK, every in every street there was a recruitment company called Kelly. So there's Kelly Services in Malaysia. It's a Fortune 500 company. The MD called me and said, "We'd like to talk to you." So I went and met the MD and the people person, HR. And basically, what they wanted was a coach to coach their 8 branch managers. So when I asked why is it that you so my learning curve was really about how to coach, not coach my client, but how to have a coaching conversation with what we call sponsor, who's our, who's paying, who will be paying me. So the first part is not so much how do I coach my client, but to have a coaching conversation. But I call this discovery. Yeah. So have a
Yes.
discovery conversation with my sponsor. And so I asked them many questions like, so what is it that has led you to talk to a coach? And what is it about your branch managers that is an issue? So then the conversation is a confidential conversation. So through that conversation, I understood what the agenda is. So I came home, and because there was 8 of them, I came home and wrote a 6-month proposal.
Now, please tell me, what is your coaching philosophy? How does it guide you, your interaction with clients?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. Thank you. So my coaching philosophy is I enter the coaching space to build trust and rapport because I if there's no trust and rapport with my client, there's no coaching. And so I invest a lot in understanding who is in front of me and what is their worldview and what are their challenges. So the first interaction with my client is always a discovery again and really building trust and rapport. So I ask a lot of questions. So it's about sharing. I want to know their life and their challenges, and then I share about me. And I would suss it out that there is a trust and rapport, then I can go into my coaching work, which is I enter the coaching space knowing that they have all the answers. I don't coaches don't tell, coaches don't go into a coaching conversation and tell them what to do. we facilitate.
Yes.
So when I enter the coaching space, and I do tell my clients, and I do give them a contract, I tell them, I don't come here knowing everything. I trust you know all the answers. And then I tell them about the coaching tools and techniques I use, the questioning, the listening, the feedback. So I give them a overview of what my coaching is. And then it's really about establishing what they want me to coach on.
Okay.
And then the coaching happens.
Thank you for your answer. How do you define success in both personal and professional life?
Success. Wow. Yeah. We talk about that. In LinkedIn, we're talking so much about leadership and success and making leaders be successful leaders. Success is it's like every other word, yeah. So how do you measure success? So as a coach, yeah, I'm going to talk about as a coach. For me, success is if my client has become well aware about their challenges, to work
Okay.
with me to overcome all of that, to be the best version. I know it's a statement we make, to become the best version of themselves. So success for me is the success that my client achieves. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a
That's
quick.
great.
I'm
That's
going to give.
great. Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to give you a quick example because at the moment I'm doing a lot of women empowerment work. Yeah, and
Yes.
one of my client was sitting in front of me with the sponsor, and she was very nervous, yeah, and she was an HR manager, yeah, for a hotel, chain of hotels, yeah. So the sponsor wanted me to coach her to become more confident because she lacked confidence. So when the client was in front of me, I actually felt that I don't think I could coach my client. So that's the other thing we do. Huh? We don't just take a client. Most of the time we do because we need an income. Yeah. But we also have to
Yes.
be, as we also have to suss it out that can I coach this client? Yeah. So my client was sitting in front of me, lovely woman, but very nervous, very unsure about whether she wanted coaching from me. Yeah. So again, time was spent, um, trust and trust and rapport was built, and I started. So basically, what she wanted from me was to make her confident. So, and that's what I get from most of my women clients. They say I need confidence, which is always surprising for me because some amazing women sit in front of me. Anyway, I coached my client. She became better and better because of the tools and techniques I use. Yeah. She became better
Yes.
and better. Her sponsor gave me feedback saying, yes, she's getting much, much better. Thank you, Vimla. And then came a moment when I'm going to share this, and if she's listening, she'll know what I'm going to talk about. I went away to New York to present my empowerment work, came back to do my sixth session, and she said to me, Vimla, I will be leaving. I've been headhunted. So she was headhunted because she had become confident and superb as an HR manager. So she was headhunted, and she's an assistant director, HR assistant director for another hotel.
Wow, your struggle works. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I amaze myself as well, Maria.
Yes.
I kind of, you ask me what is success. My success is really my client's success.
And
And
that's the great answer you given to
thank
me.
you, thank
Yes.
you.
Now, please tell me, how do you tailor your coaching approach to meet unique needs of your clients?
That's a great question. Yeah. So I'm going to go and share my women empowerment program, right? So what
Yes.
happened? It's not just one client. I coached five, six, seven women. Yeah, seven
Yes.
women. with different agendas. You know, one wanted to be confident, the other one wanted to be able to communicate at board level, yeah, because she was being pushed up to get into that space. Another one wanted to know how to manage the millennials. Yeah, so different women gave me different agendas to work with, but all of them wanted confidence to start with. So when I had finished coaching all these women, what one day I was sitting, I coach and I'm happy that I've got my clients where they want to go. I didn't reflect what is the impact I'd had on them because all of them got promoted. So the one that I gave the example, she became assistant director. Another lady became GM. Two women became GMs. And one person who I coached in UK, she became the director of people and culture for the company she was working. Now it's only when she WhatsApped me saying, "Vimala, I've got my tiara on my head and I've been promoted." And so the tiara is what I use as a metaphor when I coach women who say to me, I need confidence. So when I looked at all these women who got promoted, I realized there's a very specific need that is required for women to go into leadership. So women in the middle layer, yeah, I call them the emerging women talent. So that is a um, unique space I found myself in. And then I realized that through my coaching and a metaphor that I use, that they all became very confident to be able to go. So it's a journey for them, you know. Yeah. So although I coached and they say, thank you very much, I feel better, you know, I can do this. And then comes their journey. So when they've gone through their journey of empowerment, they get promoted. They get promoted. So
That's amazing. Yes.
I then looked at this niche, and I then started writing my program. I At the moment I've got a coaching program. It's level 1, level 2, level 3, and it's called Who the Heck Moved My Tiara? Yeah. So
Yes.
the metaphor, the tiara is all about empowerment, the empowerment that women have, but we give it away, we throw it away, it gets stolen, or it gets hidden. You know, we are all born empowered. I'm the
Yes.
second daughter. I'm the second daughter. My father had five girls. Okay. I'm the second daughter. And because my father didn't have a son, he brought all of us up and he said, go and get an education and make sure you have a profession. But so I was empowered, you know, but again, you know, I didn't know what empowerment was when I was growing up. So when I became a coach and I started coaching women, I realized that we are born with empowerment. We all are. Women are, girls are, babies are born with empowerment, both men and women. But for girls, because of societal pressure, because of everything that you and I can talk about, we
Yes.
lose it. We give it away. We lose it. We hide it. We throw it away. I was one of them. Yeah. Even though I'd had the strategic role, I lacked, I had a huge the imposter syndrome. You know, there was I writing strategies, giving talks, and yet I didn't believe in myself. But so women have to work that much more internally to know that they are good, they are okay, this is enough. So that is what I am now passionate about. I mean, I still do my coaching. I'm a certified team coach. I do my team coaching as well. But my passion at the moment is really this work with women.
I totally agree with you. There is a lot of societal pressure on
Yes,
ladies.
yes.
That's why they give up and they don't
That's
follow the
right.
instruction. They don't know
That's,
about their self. They
that's
don't know about their internal energy,
that's
their
right.
willpower. Yes.
That's right. That's right. And that's why this work, there's more and more, of course. Gender equity is very much on the plate at the moment. Yeah, everybody's
Yes.
now beginning to it's heightened. Yeah, once upon a time, there is still biases and barriers for women to scale up and become leaders. Yeah, and CEOs. And when we look at the board level, but there's a lot more awareness and a lot more work that's being done, you know.
Yes.
And people like Oprah Winfrey, even Michelle Obama, even in your country, you have role models,
Yes.
women who are in politics.
Yes.
So we
But
need
it is,
to.
Vimala, it's very difficult to take first step when we
Yeah,
are starting our professional life because of societal pressure.
that's right. That's right. That's
You
right.
faced a lot of negativity of people.
That's
You must be
that's right.
strong. Yes.
That's right. Because there is always that kind of prejudice. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're a girl, you say, you want to be a scientist. The first thing somebody will say is that, don't be silly, go and do some cooking.
Yes. Yes.
You know.
That's true.
So societal pressure, the kind of prejudice that in the society, we also need to work around that. And I only come in when they're already in front of me, but but they do lack. I when I was in New York, this is what I said. All the coaches I've had, both men and women, not one man will tell me I need confidence. When I say, okay, what am I going to coach you on? All the women would say to me, I need confidence. Not one, no man tells me that. They'll say, oh, I've got a team.
Yes.
One team member is not working very well. I want you to coach how to work with my team member.
Yes. Now, Vimala, tell me what are key qualities you believe every effective leader should possess? And how do you help leaders develop their emotional intelligence and resilience?
That's a fantastic question. Yeah. I trained as a nurse. Yeah. So this human thing is very much in my DNA. In fact, the feedback I've had when I do peer coaching and somebody's observing me, they say to me that I have a different approach. Yeah. So I can't be a very transactional coach. Yeah. I cannot be that. I cannot be um, hard in my approach. Yeah. So when I look at leaders, I am looking for leaders who are coming from a human perspective. Yeah, because you have to be a human first,
Yes.
then become a leader. Yeah. So when there was a lot of conversation going on about, we have a lot of toxic leaders, we have transactional leaders. Yeah, I tell you, you do. So they treat their employees. Yeah, they have their own leadership style, which is, I tell you, you do. Don't ask me questions. And we have leaders who shout, yeah, who are toxic, who bully. We have all of this, yeah. So when
Yes.
we now work with leaders, it's 2024, yeah. Men and women, when we work with leaders, we want to make them as human leaders, because everyone is a parent, yeah, or a sister, or a mother, and you have your own family where you are either a very strict parent or a transformational parent. Yeah, parenting is different now from my days. My father was very strict with me. Yeah. So when I look at all the leaders who are coming to work, they already have a leadership position in their own family. So why is it when they come into workplace, they let go of whatever they have, which is maybe being a very good father, yeah, being very empathetic, being very understanding, or maybe not, because a parenting is very difficult. Right? It's a tough job. I'm not a parent, so I can only see from my sisters being parents, and then I see men as parents, I have my brother-in-laws, I have my nieces, sorry, my nephews as men, and I look at them and I see that they are very human leaders. They are very human parent, and I see that more and more. So going back to your question, I think we need uh, leaders who are coming from a human perspective. Yeah, knowing
Yes.
that we all have flaws, we have misgivings, we have gaps, but when you lead, you need to lead from being a human being, and that human being have to be transformative. We've talked about the transactional leadership, yeah, and that
Yes.
need to become EQ. Yeah, you need to develop. That's why we give a lot of programs, to leaders, what is EQ, how to be empathetic, yeah, and how to listen, how to ask questions rather than shouting. So I'm a CIQ certified coach. This is conversational coaching. Yeah, in it, the first level of communication is tell, sell, and yell. That's what we do. That's the first level.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
where leaders are. Most of the time they tell you, they try to sell it to you, and then if they're not getting anything, they yell. So then when I work with leaders, I try to get them to level 3, which is co-creating. You have to be co-creating, you have to collaborative, you have to listen, you have to learn how to ask coaching questions rather than telling. Because employees are employees. Yeah. They
Yes.
rather come and ask you. So when they ask you as a leader, you need to be able to say, well, what would you do differently if the situation which is a coaching conversation. So that's the other thing we're promoting for leaders to become more coach-like.
That's very,
So
very important.
yes, yes, yes.
You are doing amazing job, Vimala. Now,
Okay.
please tell me what common leadership challenges do you see in your clients? How do you address them? What are some common issues people seek your help as a life coach?
Yeah, yeah. So the common issue. So I'm going to make it. So when I went to the recruitment company, it was really about the the, there's a vision and mission and bottom line to be met. Yeah, the business side. So when an MD or CEO is asking me to coach their leaders, what they're really asking me is, can you make them to be present as leaders, the transformational leaders, give them all those uh, uh, qualities, but also get them to executively align to the vision, mission, and the strategy of the company. Because most of the time, we have leaders who don't really get involved in understanding what is the understanding how to executively align. So that is something I sell very strongly. So when I go in, I say, okay, so tell me what is it that they are lacking. Yeah. So they lack an understanding of how to think strategically, how to think business like, and how to executively align to the vision mission for the business of the company. And in that comes issues around communication. They need to learn how to communicate in a way that they are communicating downwards and upwards, more savvy. I call it communication savvy. How to influence, yeah, and how to work with your team. So, as a team member, they need to be able to again be empathetic, listen with their team members, because they coach, they lead downwards and upwards. So, most of the time, from the MDs, the client who pays me, or the HR director, when it comes to women, it's really build their confidence. Yeah. When it comes to a team of mixed men and women. So I worked in a Japanese company as a coach. It was a very toxic workplace simply because it was a Japanese client. a company in Kuala Lumpur, and all the first level leaders were Chinese. So there was a lot of issues around inclusion, diversity, and understanding. But the most important thing was the first level leaders and the MD, they weren't communicating. There was a lot of blame. So I see that as well. I can go into a company, ask the right question, and what will come out is that they don't communicate. Then when I start working onto one to one, what I heard there is blame. The bottom line of all this is because they were so toxic, they hadn't met their productivity target. So from a coaching point, you have to kind of put all this together. Then my outcome becomes very clear for me. Oh, right. You all haven't met your productive target for 2.5 years, is it? And they say, yeah. And then I have to do the diagnosis. Why? Because they are so toxic. There's no collaboration, there's no conversation.
And
There's
collaboration and conversation is very, very important.
it's critical. It's critical.
Yes,
So
yes.
the coaching is to enable them to become savvy, you know, how to how to communicate well, you know. So yeah. So those are some of the challenges.
What do you think? What role does self awareness and meditation play in coaching?
That's a good one. Meditation. I only discovered I was when I was when I had a strategic role. Yeah, I was very uh, although I'm a Hindu, I didn't understand about meditation. I was very kind of I wouldn't say I'm a transactional leader, but I was driven because I needed to bring the strategy, first of all, and then I had to get these people to embrace the strategy. So I was very kind of driven. And I used to get tired, exhausted, and all of that because it's not easy. But I never understood that I needed to meditate. Yeah. So now that I'm a coach, coaching has taught me so many different levels of layers of being. So I got into meditation and breathing. And so we live in a very stressful world today. Yeah, we have so many
Yes,
things going on around
yes,
us, and mental health issue is number one. So I can then, when I go into coaching, I can see the stress my clients are experiencing. So I teach them to breathe. Because I do it. Breathing is the best to
yes.
recalibrate
To
your
reduce your stress, negativity
yes.
of
Yeah.
mind, it's very
Yeah.
important. Yes,
Yeah. So even with my client, the one that I showcased, I used to tell her, just go into the corridor and just stare out into the window. Look at plants. I'm a very flower. I love plants and flowers. And this particular hotel had flowers and plants everywhere. So I said, just look at the plant, yeah, and just take a moment to to be to be present with
yes,
nature, yeah,
yes,
and that regulates your stress. So whenever they were in a stress, when she was in a stressful situation, I said to her, you can take time out. You can tell your team or your people, just give me a moment, because we all have comfort breaks, right?
yes,
And then I would say, go and do this kind of thing. And then I would tell them, meditate. Google lots and lots of things to look at, meditate.
yes,
Yeah. So you
yes.
asked me meditation and something else. You asked me something else. Uh, what is it?
Self awareness and
Oh, yeah.
meditation. Yes,
So self awareness is the number one um, issue that in coaching we bring about. Yeah, the whole
yes,
coaching process is really geared up to become self-aware, meaning they my client needs to be self-aware, but I also have to be self-aware. That's why coaching is so magical. It's only when I
yes,
went in coaching that I realized
You
that, hey,
learn
what,
a lot. You learn
yeah,
a lot from your coaching career, as you described.
yes,
Yes,
yes, I learned so much from my coaching client. So when I am trying to build their self awareness through the questions and the challenging and the feedback I gave, they are beginning to open up, to become more self aware. And that is a transformation I see. And that's a transformation I look out for. And you can see it because the body language changes, their way of talking changes. Yeah. And then I do
yes,
something shadow coaching. I do something called shadow coaching because in coaching we give a lot of homework for our clients. Yeah.
yes,
So shadow coaching is when I observe, I'm in my house and I set my client to have a meeting with, say, the kitchen staff. Yeah, because she needs to explain a procedure that's changing. Yeah, so
yes,
that's where I look out for, is my client becoming self-aware. So all these kind of things is what will inform me that yes, she's handling it with empathy, with understanding. She's self-aware. She's also listening. Yeah. So whenever she's communicating, she needs to observe the body language of the people because she's introducing a change. She needs to listen. So that's her. That's how they build self-aware, but
yes.
also my own self-awareness.
Thank you so much, Vimala, for your precious time. It's a great pleasure to talk with you. It's
Thank you so
amazing.
much, Maria.
It's amazing session. We will meet you soon again with another
I
session.
hope we, yes, I hope we can. I loved it. I
Yes,
enjoyed it. I
yes.
know it's Saturday,
We
and
are
I really
connected on
enjoyed.
LinkedIn. A few months
Yeah,
ago, we are connected on LinkedIn.
yes,
So
we
first,
are.
yes, yes. So first, I thought about you. Then I message you, learn more about you, to know more about you.
Yes, yes. I really enjoyed it, Maria.
That's why I invited you in my podcast. In this way, we
Yes,
communicate with each other. We know
yes.
more
And
about each other. Yes.
yes, I must congratulate you
Thank you
because
so much. Ji.
you're doing this. I have no idea who you are. As you said, we didn't even have a Zoom call or anything before, but I must congratulate you for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Okay, okay. Hopefully we'll meet each other one day. You in
Yes.
Pakistan, right?
Yes. In Pakistan, these problems are a lot of society pressure, as you described earlier. Yes.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
it's
yes,
very difficult for ladies, especially when we take first step to our profession. But we
yes.
must be strong and confident, then we do it.
Yes,
Yes.
we have to be united. That's why I talk about mentors. We
Yes.
have to lift each other up. We have to lift each other up.
Yes. It was an amazing session, and it's a great pleasure for me to talk with you. Thank you so
Okay,
much for your precious time. Take
no
care.
worries. Take
Yes,
care.
see you soon again.
See you soon. Take care. See you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank